Hi, this is Dr. Tom Rogers coming to you today from Knoxville, Tennessee, where the famous University of Tennessee, where I went to school, is located. As a matter of fact, you see this shirt I have on today is because I'm going to the regional baseball playoffs today with Ben, and a good friend called Tony Basilio has invited us, so we're kind of excited about that. The reason I wanted to bring you this podcast specifically to work this in this week is because 2 days ago the FDA announced a game changer obesity drug that's going to be introduced, and it could have major implications in the weight loss battle. The drug is going to be called Wegovy, and I guess that's how you pronounce it. They really haven't marketed it yet, so this is kind of breaking news, and I'm maybe jumping the gun, but the reason I'm jumping the gun is because we've been using the same drug now for almost 2 years in the form of Ozempic, which is a medicine for diabetes. But we use it for weight loss as well. Again, half of what doctors use is off-label anyway, and certainly most people with obesity have this metabolic syndrome of at least pre-diabetes, but it's really a diabetes drug that now has been approved at a different dose under a different name for obesity. And they're labeling it a game changer because really it targets the gut rather than the brain for weight loss. It's kind of a new way of thinking. Again, we've been thinking this way for at least a couple years. It's based off of what's called a GLP-1 agonist. GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide, which is a hormone that's secreted naturally in the body by the gut. It helps regulate your metabolism, has a lot to do with insulin, etc. And I'll tell you how it works in a minute, but first of all, the deal with, obesity. Obesity is a chronic disease that you have to treat like a chronic disease. And that's the way it's really, for most people, a lifelong disease. Sometimes if you can figure out their metabolism, their hormones, and adjust their eating patterns, a lot of it comes into psychology and a lot of things for the reason people eat. But some people just have a more tendency to retain fat than other people. There's some genetic differences, and it's a complex medical issue. Again, it's not calories in, calories out, a matter of eating less and exercising more. It's much more complex than that. As a matter of fact, one of the more complex things that you'll ever deal with in medicine is weight loss. And that's why it's very hard to get sustained, lifelong weight loss in a lot of patients. Because there's a lot of different factors for it. But in the end, after you figure things out and you figure that it is a chronic disease, we do have some tools that really help. But you do have to treat it like a lifelong illness, really of insulin resistance. But the thing about these peptides and the way they're different is because they regulate the output of these hormones in your body. One is insulin, the other one's glucagon. They're both secreted by the pancreas. And the deal with this drug, which we've used Ozempic for a couple years now, had tremendous success with it. I mean, you can ask a lot of our patients why we've had success with this. It's because it works in different ways. One way it works is that it slows down gastric emptying, so you're going to feel full longer. Another way it works is that it helps insulin secretion by the pancreas. Insulin takes the sugar in your blood and puts it into the cells. That's where you want it for energy. The other way it works is it decreases the output of glucagon from the pancreas. The pancreas secretes glucagon when you're fasting and when you're hungry and when your blood sugars are low, which glucagon stimulates the liver to put out glucose, sugar. So it decreases that and indirectly decreases the liver output of sugar so that you won't have as much blood sugar. That's why these medicines work for diabetes. So think of those three ways. There's also some evidence that it decreases the appetite center in the brain as well. So there's really four reasons this drug works, and we've had tremendous success with this. They're just relabeling it. It's become FDA approved for weight loss. And as you know, obesity, as I've stated many times, is the number one problem, medical problem in our country. And, if we didn't have an obesity epidemic, we wouldn't even have a healthcare crisis, in my opinion. Almost 50% of Americans are obese, and it's getting worse all the time. As you know, with COVID, 90% of deaths worldwide were from countries that have an epidemic of obesity. If you notice COVID mortality early on, it was mostly obese people that were dying from this illness or getting very sick, as well as elderly people and diabetics. So we've got a major reason to fight obesity. And hopefully this new drug, which is really not a new drug at all, it just has a higher dose and a different name. So I think it works. It's probably going to even work better because we're going to work the doses up. Now, there's a couple caveats. You can't take it if you've had pancreatitis, which is rare, or medullary cancer of the thyroid, and that is extremely rare, or something called MEN syndrome number 2, multiple endocrine neoplasia, which is a familial type disease. It's a very, very rare. So those are the only contraindications. Side effects, as we've seen with Ozempic, and I'm sure we'll see with Wegovy, is nausea. But usually, if you start slow and work your way up, it's a minor problem. Not many people can't tolerate this drug. I've had a very few, and we've used it thousands of times. This is just going to allow us to use a little higher dose. Now, here's the thing about this. This is not going to be a game changer unless insurance companies will start approving it for weight loss. Insurance companies are very hesitant to approve drugs for weight loss. It's not because they don't realize that weight loss is very good for your health and cutting down on your future medical expenses. Their reasoning, they don't care really because it's about the money to them. And it also, because I've called up insurance executives before, and they know it will reduce overall cost of that person's health lifelong, but they reason that by the time that those effects take place, they'll be with another insurance company, so it won't matter to them. What a way to think, but that's the way they kind of reason things. So it is a business to them. So my point, as always, is take care of yourself. We've been able to cover quite a few people with Ozempic, and I know we're going to find a way to use this this new drug to use it effectively for weight loss. So again, with weight loss, you have to be an expert with nutrition and hormones, and all this stuff fits together. You can't just say, hey, take this once a week shot and your problems are solved. You still have to change your eating patterns for the most part, which usually means lower carb, and I love intermittent fasting as well. But it's kind of exciting news that they're announcing that there's a new game-changing drug out there. Again, we've been using this drug for 2 years and had great success with it. It'll just help us get another way to use a different dose under a different name and maybe better coverage. Who knows yet what the insurance company's going to do. But I'm kind of hoping they'll sample a lot of it too so we can get people started. Because again, I think that obesity is the major problem of our country with our healthcare system. That and drugs, I think, are the two biggest problems that we face in the medical community. So I'm excited about this. It just gives light to the fact that obesity is treatable. It's complex. We have another tool to help us in our armamentarium. And Uh, if you have questions about your weight, again, the average weight loss on this new drug was about 15%, sometimes up to 20%. And think about it, 15% weight loss in a person that weighs 200 pounds, that's 30 pounds. That's a lot of weight. 250-pound person, that's a 45-pound weight loss. So that's life-changing. If you can lose that much weight and keep it off, it'll change your whole life. I mean, every parameter will get better, not only from your blood sugar levels, diabetes, to your blood pressure, to your lipid profile, to your inflammatory markers, to the way your knees feel, your back feels, your brain works. Everything can get better just with weight loss. So I'm excited about it. You know, most of my clinic focuses on hormones and weight loss. That's been my mission for the last 16 years since I founded Performance Medicine, and it remains our goal to keep people leaner and healthier. So I hope you'll reach out to us about this new tool that we have, old tool that we have, and come see us if your weight's a problem at Performance Medicine. Thanks. I'll see you again next week.